What's up, guys? Today we're coming at you with the Evilswarm deck profile. So let's jump into this deck profile and let's see what we're coming at you with. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure, if you're new to the channel, to hit the subscribe button. That'd be much appreciated. Also, too, be sure to leave a like and a comment. That way we know what feedback you got from us, guys. So let's jump into this. Let's see what we're coming at you with. To start things off, run 3 Evilswarm Helios. This guy is just a good beater. It's vanilla for the deck, easily to accessible. Get 2 of them on board, start going to your Ophion plays, start beating your opponent down. We're running 3 Evilswarm Caster. Caster's a pretty little good guard card for the deck. This guy's going to allow you to be able to get an additional normal summon for your Evilswarm monsters, and that's going to allow you to be able to get that extra little normal summon on board. Get the extra monster you need on board and just get the plays going the way you want to. Next, we're running 2 Evilswarm Thunderbird. This card is just good for whenever you got it on the field. You got a card effect that activates. Just go ahead and bounce this card, banish it out of field, and just be able to make sure you can dodge some things. Being able to bring it back during your next standby phase is very useful. We're also running 3 Evilswarm Kirkion. This guy is just like Caster. It's going to allow you to be able to get that additional normal summon if you got a monster in your graveyard. You banish out one of your Evilswarm monsters, add that monster back to hand, and it's going to allow you to be able to get that additional normal summon that you want. And we're also running 3 Evilswarm Mandragora. This card is just good for being able to get, if your opponent has more monsters than you do, just be able to special summon that card to the field and be able to get that extra monster on board. Is just very, very useful. We're also running 3 Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit's just going to be able to help us get that normal monster out of the deck as fast as possible. So it's a good starter card. Just be able to get Ophion on board as fast as possible. It's very useful. And lastly, for the monsters, we're running 3 Ash Blossoms. Ash Blossoms needed. This is a controlled deck. You're going to want to be able to control all the options that you can get. If you can lock your opponent out from getting all those special summon high level monsters, then you can start picking off the spell and trap cards that you want to pick off that they can't get the searches they want. It can be very useful and beneficial to you. But that is it for the monsters. For the spell cards, we're running 3 Allure Darkness. Allure Darkness, is just a good card. The deck is full of dark monsters. Spin through the deck as fast as possible to get to the resources that you want. Banish out anything you don't need. Very good. We're running 1 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin is very good too, just to be able to get that extra access draw, just to dig a little deeper. We're running 2 Infestation Pandemic. 2 is a very good number. You shouldn't have to go to 3. If you're going to 3, you're going a little too far. You're not playing something right. But 2 is very good to be able to get that search, be able to make sure you keep your opponent locked down. That way you can protect your Ophion and all your other Evilswarm monsters from being destroyed by card effects. Very good. And lastly, for the spell cards, running 3 Super Polymerization. This card came off the ban list of 3, and this is a very good deck to run it in. To be able to make sure you can control the field as much as possible. Let your opponent go off on their plays that they want to. You can sit there and say, main phase, draw phase, standby phase, change, Super Polymerization, suck up whatever cards, whether it be link monsters, monsters on the board, whatever you want to do. Suck those monsters up. Your opponent won't be able to respond to it, and that can really put you in the game state where you want to be. But that's it for the spell cards. For the trap cards, we're running 1 Solemn Warning and 3 Solemn Judgment. This is just to make sure that you can really hate on those normal summons that your opponent has. You're not going to want to pay all this life points, but if you hit your warning first, these right here are for your game after that. You don't want to hit this first, but guess what? If your opponent starts getting a little too crazy, start throwing some things out there you don't like to see, you can't pay half your life points, and just start slowly eating away at them. But still, this right here can really lock down your opponent, make sure that they put themselves in a real hard situation. Like you said, you're judging them after that. You tell them straight up, We ain't going that way today, sir. We ain't going that way. Also running one Imperial Order. This card, if you're going against any pendulum matchup, this is going to really make sure that you put that, matchup in lock. You don't want to be able to make sure that your opponent doesn't have any of those spell cards they won't. Get the Ophion on board. Start setting up the plays you want to. Lock them out of their spells. If you got your Ash in hand, you're looking pretty good. We're also running 2 anti-spell fragrance. This is the same thing. We don't want to be able to lose that pendulum matchup. You want to make sure that you can control the game state as much as possible. So most decks, they're going to have a lot of spell cards. Make them set those spell cards before they start activating them. Same thing, we're running 2 mistake. You don't want a lot of decks to be searching too much either. You can slow down the game state as much as you want to. Play the game the way you want to play it. That's the key thing that you want to do. Make sure that you slow down your opponents. There's a lot of decks that search right now, and that's something that you don't want to go up against a Thunder Dragon deck. They just start searching like crazy. You already got them locked out of their spells, so just make sure they can't search either. And lastly, for the trap cards, we're running 3 Torrential Tributes. Torrential Tributes fairly good to be able to have your infestation set, torrential tribute set. Your opponent starts going off with the plays that they want to because they said, hey, I'm not running level 5 or higher. You can say, go ahead, do your plays, do what you want to do, flip infestation, flip the torrential, and you sit there and look as your opponent loses all their monsters, and you still sitting there looking pretty. But that is it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we're running 3 fusions. We're running 1 World Chalice Guard Dragon Duck, 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp. This is mainly for our Super Poly targets. We want to be able to make sure that we can wipe our opponent's board whatever way we want to. World Chalice, it's just a card that we can use if you're worried about your opponent going link spam. Say you're going against the Guard Dragon player, right before they get ready to get to right when they get to their Argopane, their LP play, and you got a Link monster on board, just go ahead and flip Super Poly. They're not going to get those plays that they want to make. They're going to automatically be sitting there with a half-made board, and they're just going to have a sad face after that. Same thing with Starving Venom. If you're going second, there's a lot of times, like I said, if you're going against, a dragon deck, they're going to have Archfiend Abyss out there. They're going to have Borlo Savage out there. Those are 2 major targets that could be really problematic. Just go ahead and suck those monsters up, which is Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and just sit there and just be like, okay, you did all that work for what? And also the same thing with Mud Dragon. This is just going to be a card that they got 2 attributes that are the same. Just go ahead and suck that up and just go put an end to all that hate that they got over there on their side of the field. We're running 2 Evilswarm Ophion. Ophion is, like I said, very good. If your opponent, this is like back in the Dragon Rulers Spellbook era. This card is what made me, I was playing Dragon Rulers and somebody put this across the table from me, and I just got the sad face because there wasn't nothing I could do. But also too, things like Tempest coming back, that makes this card look fairly good. Yes, there are cards that can get around this, but you gotta be able to play your plays. You're using this to be able to hate on those dragon decks, things like that can spawn out those crazy dragons, big high level monsters. Just put all that stuff on lock and just make them just sit there and look at you with a sad face. We're running 1 Evilswarm Bahamut. This card is just good for being a snatch steal target. Just, your opponent, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna put up some big monsters on you. You're gonna sit there and you're like, nah dude, we can't have all that snatch steal, let me get that monster from you. So it's very good for that, very, very beneficial. We're running 1 Evilswarm Exton Knight. Exton Knight is, very good. He's not like he was back in the day, but sometimes people forget about this card, and like I said, it's good to make them pay for it because they didn't count up the resources. We're also running the Utopia package in 1 number 39 Utopia and 1 number S39 Utopia Beyond. This is just good for making sure you get that big buff. It's a good monster to put on, be able to get over some stuff and make sure your opponent can't activate some crazy monster effects. We're running 1 Tornado Dragon. This is just to make sure we get those pesky Baskro cards cleared out. We don't want to have no problems, no issues going along the way. just in case we don't get our play set up the way we want to, we can go into, Babushka, set it in defense mode, cut off all the monster effects, put up the back row that you want to, and just sit there and wait till you get your cards lined up the way you want to, and make sure your opponent can't do the plays that they want to do. We're also running one Abyss Dweller. Sometimes you still got some graveyard effects, be able to put off the back row that you want to, be able to stick an Abyss Dweller out there. Sometimes it's enough to just pretty much call quits for your opponent. We're also running one Wee Wee Witch of Prettiness. This is just good. All the monsters in the deck are dark. Be able to make sure that you be able to give them a big buff. Be able also to get some of these link monsters, XYZ monsters out there that you want to, and be able to get that big, power push that you want. Also, same thing, we're running one Underclock Taker. Underclock Taker can be very useful. Be able to make sure we can shrink some of those crazy attack point monsters that could be bigger than the monsters that we got. Could be, very beneficial and help us to keep the game state the way we want to. And lastly, for the extra deck, we're running one Steel Swarm Origin. This card is very useful for the Steel Swarm archetype. It could be a little bit better, but still, for what it does, it's very, very useful. But that's it for the deck profile, guys. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, be sure to Gallic gun that like button, share, comment, subscribe. Thanks guys for all your love and support. We're out.